listening to Share Radio, the best online visual radio station in town. Tune in now and enjoy the best music from around the block. This is Share Radio. This is Share Radio. We did it last year, the Share Gaming Mzansi Esports Tournament. This year, it's bigger and better. More action, more goals, and more jaw-dropping gameplay. Introducing FC24 and the Candy Crush Tournament. If you know you have what it takes to walk away with awesome prizes and a cash prize of 1,000 Rand, register today at www.shareonline.co.za. Join in on the action. Get your free ticket by subscribing to our YouTube channel, that is Share Gaming and Share Online. April 27th at Kopanong Hall in Dobsonville, Soweto. The gates open at 11 a.m. You need to be the best to be crowned the best. Let the games begin.
One minute till we hit the afternoon, and I would like to say good afternoon and good morning to all of the listeners and the viewers. This is Mzansi Affairs, and I am your host, Moeketsi, my man, and I am joined by two gentlemen over here, one with me in the studio and one with me on a call. And I would like to start with Mr. Banele and ask you, how are you doing this afternoon, sir?
Doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
I am good. Thank you, sir. I would like to pass it over to Mr. JB. Mr. JB, can you hear us?
Yes, good morning, Mo, and good morning, Mr. Banele.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
I am okay, man. I can't complain. I'm happy to be part of the show.
Yeah, we are also happy to have you, and we miss you right here in the studio. I hope you know that wherever you are.
Yeah, man. I have a commitment this morning, but next week I will be with you guys.
Definitely, man. The reason I'm asking you guys, how are you doing this morning? It's because, I mean, you have seen the past days that the weather has not been good at all. So I would like to ask you. Says me. I think I can't hear you. Is your mic on?
Okay, now it's on.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm asking. Oh, sorry. I was asking. Says who that the weather wasn't good.
The reporters out there, and I also seen that the weather was not good, man.
No, man. No.
Like, we want rain, but the way it rains is like too much. We all know that too much of everything can like lead to a damage.
Well, I look at it differently. I mean, the weather is the weather. So one day it will be hot, the next day it will be cold. We don't have snow. When we do get snow, we get excited. But I just take it for what it is. Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why I'm saying that. Hence, I'm about to ask Mr. Jabulani that the weather that has been, in the past days, did it do any damages in your side?
More unfortunately, I was not moving around, but where I am, I think everything is still okay. No damages, but it's been cold. And excuse my voice because you can feel that I'm catching flu.
Yeah, man. We hope you don't get sick because as much as we are heading to winter, a lot of people will be getting cold. So, guys, in terms of the weather, I don't know if you guys noticed that in the Western Cape, disaster management, they have told people to calm down because of the damages. The video that you were showing me yesterday, when the roofs were flying over, like damages were made. So in the morning when I wake up, in the news, they reported that 130 schools were damaged by the Cape Town weather. So here with me, I have a statement by a premier. A premier of Western Cape says more than 130 Western Cape schools have been damaged in the following storms. By the following storms, Mr. Premier Alan Winder said during the update, the weather was bad in the province, and he said that while schools in the Overberg and Cape Winelands education districts remain closed on Tuesday, schools in Helderberg Basin had reopened, and then the Western Cape Department of Education will make a decision later today as to whether further closures will be needed in the coming days. So, guys, what do you think when it comes to this? That infrastructure that is built out there, for the learners, is not as strong as we think.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not. That's the honest truth. Because this actually comes down to the quality of craftsmanship, or even, when getting tenders, right? Do we cut corners? And when we do cut corners, it will reflect down the line. So I got to see some videos online where the roof was just, the roof came off. And then when it comes to schools or your public roads, there's potholes when it rains. But now I want us also to distinguish between extreme weather, which is what I believe Cape Town had the past few days. So they had extreme weather. And with that being said, when it comes to construction, some of these things are taken into consideration that if there is a storm of a similar nature, would this infrastructure be able to withstand the harsh conditions that fall upon it? And we don't even have to ask the question, because now we know that they are not built to withstand that weather. So now the question will then have to come in with regards to the audits that the person that said that, this building is okay, they need to be brought in for questioning. But at what point do we then start separating that, hey, you know what, this was extreme weather, so to a certain extent we understand. And in terms of ratings, that when someone builds a building, is it rated for, certain kilometers in terms of wind speed, that it can withstand, all of this? But we don't even have to ask the questions. We can see the results that these buildings, roads, or anything is not built to withstand all of these harsh conditions.
I mean, this thing is very high alarming, because hearing that 130 schools are closed because of the weather, it definitely, knocks on the doors of the people who are responsible for these infrastructures, because learners will be affected. A lot of learners will be affected with everything that is going through. So, Mr. JP, I just want to hear from you, man. Like, what do you think the municipality has to do, or what do they have to do with the situation of 130 schools damaged in the Western Cape due to the weather?
Of course, more it's a blow on its own. I mean, like for people, they're going to suffer now. More especially students, they're going to be left behind because of someone who's not being responsible for everything that is happening right now. I think when we build or when we want to build, or when we want to have certain type of buildings, it must be known that this area has this kind of conditions of weather, so it must be something that it will be sustained and being strong for the weather, for that kind of weather. So Cape Town, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, that side, we always have those kind of wind, and I mean, like, surprisingly, these distracting weathers, but people, they always want to save when they get these tenders from municipality and everything. But I think it's a wake-up call to us. We need to strengthen our management, people that giving out tenders and everything, to know that if we build something here, we need something strong, because we have weather conditions that are giving us problem when rainy time comes and everything. So I think they need to really look at that, and make sure that things are built properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, if we take a look at what's happening around the world, you'll find that in the US, or even the countries that are prone to have volcanic eruptions, they typically build houses that they know they can abandon at any time,
yeah,
right? So you would find that in those countries, timber is a big thing. So, I mean, they can put together a house out of wood in like a week. But, when it's time to evacuate, they do that exactly. And because there's also hurricanes and your tornadoes, obviously everything gets left in shambles, but it's easy for them to rebuild again, right? Not easy from an emotional perspective, but in terms of, getting the lumber and the timber together, they can do that. So 100%, I mean, to Jabu's point, Cape Town is different, or the coastal areas are different. So the standard at which we build property that side should also reflect the conditions of the place itself.
And 2 hours ago, there was a post that was actually posted on social media saying the City of Cape Town's disaster risk management officials are monitoring high-risk areas and determining the need for humanitarian and engineering relief where impacts have been reported. So at least 28 incidents have been listed in areas where structural damage occurred due to the wind. So if anyone who is here around Gauteng, Johannesburg, and also Soweto, and you know that you have a loved one that side, the following places are the places that have been damaged, and please do make sure that you check on them and how they are doing. The places are Delft in Cape Town, Mitchell's Plain, Kaelisha, Blue Downs, Somerset West, North Pine, Sir Loris Pass, Monwabisi, and commercial properties in Strand. So those are the following places that have been affected by the weather that we have been seeing in the past day. So do make sure that you check on your loved ones. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we're going to discuss our main headline. And our main headline for today is women are becoming gun owners to become safe. So please make sure you text us and you do communicate with us on our socials, and we share online on YouTube, share online Instagram, TikTok, also on Facebook. Leave us your comment, and also you can leave us your voice note on WhatsApp, which is 061 524 7758. And when we come back, we are going to discuss our headline. Thank you. 60 radio, ladies and gentlemen. You're still tuned in on Mzansi Affairs. Before the break, we were speaking about the horrible weathers that have been happening here, around and also around the country. So please, guys, do check up on your loved ones and on how they're doing, because the weather has made more damages. Mr. Jabulani, are you with me?
Yes, I'm Yemo.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, so moving on to our main headline, guys. South Africa's gun control is out of control, says experts, as we are seeing a lot of women, starting to own firearms, and they also say, the reason that they own firearms is because apologies with that, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to welcome you back to Mzansi Affairs, and I hope, Mr. JP, you are back with us, right?
Yes, I'm Yemo.
Yes. Glad to have you back. So Mr. Banele was still explaining, and I'm not sure if you were done explaining. Our main headline.
Yeah. So when it comes to how I think if women should own firearms or not, I said that it is a shame that we had to come to this point, right? And that we haven't done enough to protect women, so they feel they need to take it upon themselves to ensure that they are safe in their homes, even outside their homes. In fact, the pepper spray is no longer enough. And maybe it's also part of the reason why men are also taking advantage of women, because we know that they cannot defend themselves. So if we were to reach a state where almost every woman has a gun, we would probably think twice as guys to rob or do anything of that sort. So but then I feel like this is also part of a bigger problem, because the more guns we introduce into the system, it's not going to be a pretty sight. There are shootings that are happening at a school level in the US. I mean, they've got a huge gun control problem, right? So imagine your parents own a gun, and for some reason you manage to gain access to it, and there's this boy, girl that's bullying you. You'll feel compelled to use it, right? So I understand there's a lot of education that needs to take place, but I feel like it's a shame that we've come to this point. But I still think, if you're not against the law, then you've got nothing to worry about, that gun won't be used on you. Yeah.
I mean, it's a very big pandemic, because we also have faced, a pandemic in the past years. So with women violence and men on men violence and men on women violence, it's something that has been raging. So, Mr. Jabulani, before you cut, I asked you a question that what is your thoughts when it comes to women owning guns?
Let me say, sorry about network, but coming to this topic, there are a number of things that we should look at. Violence against women in South Africa statistics. What crimes are the most common for women? Gender-based violence can be part of it. Statistics of violence against women. There are a lot of reasons, and there are a lot of things that are happening. So I think it's not a good thing as a man when women are owning guns, because women are very much emotional, if I can say, So I understand that they came to a point that they want to protect themselves, or because of what's happening around them. They are no longer safe whether they go at their homes. Crime is high here in South Africa and everywhere in the world. So but the pandemic, as you said, it's a crisis on its own. Because like when women start owning guns and they're emotional, so they use it in different areas that they're not supposed to use, because of emotions. So for me, I think it's not a good idea. But what can we do? We're here now. We can talk about it and see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you guys saying it's not, a good thing when it comes to women owning guns now. But when you go around, hearing the news on the social media and everywhere, I mean, with what I have right now, and highlighted text that I would like to share with the people. And I hope that when I'm sharing my screen, they can see what I have actually highlighted here. So it reads as recent killings include those of two teachers, a life orientation educator from Riverside High School in Vanderbilt Park, and the head of comments of the Unity Schools in Davidton, which both occurred on Friday. So these are the kind of things that we are actually speaking about, that, when these kind of things happen to people, in terms of responding, we have seen our law, failing other people. So now people are coming, to a point that they need to protect themselves from these harsh crimes that are happening out there. So as much as we're seeing this high number of women, owning firearms, later I read a statement from Mrs. Mekwa, and she also comes back that as a South African woman, you can never relax and feel safe. I am always guarded. The crime levels in this country are far too high, and I am a woman with 2 kids and a husband. So protecting myself and those I love is paramount. So, hearing from their side why they own, firearms, it leads us to say this crime thing won't stop, and it will still continue, because now they're finding ways to protect themselves. As much as we know that, husbands and, boyfriends acted as those guys who protect their partners and so forth. So are we saying them protecting themselves, it's a wrong thing, or it's something that should be normalized in a society, because there are people who are not willing to stop doing these harsh crimes? So what are solutions that we can implement to them? So firstly, I'm asking, is it wrong for them to own firearms or not? Mr. JB.
I would say it's not wrong. When we look at the crime that is happening around them, it's good to protect yourself and to protect your loving ones. But the problem with that, it's how you're gonna use the gun after you getting it. If you only want to protect you and your family, I think it's fair enough for everyone. But to extend that, once you know that you've got a gun, there are some of the things that we don't even think about can happen. So gun need people that have more discipline, if I may say. So it depends with it. What kind of a discipline do you have before you own a gun? What type of a person are you emotionally before you own a gun? So there is a quite of number of things that we must look at. So, but anyway, for protection is best. I don't know if like for emotions is gonna haunt a lot of people, because like you might buy a gun or own a gun for protecting yourself, and at the end of the day you fight with your husband or anyone. That's not crime to fight. It can happen anywhere. So you find yourself using that gun for that reason. So it is different. So I think it needs a level of high discipline to own a gun. I don't know, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, no, fully agreed. In fact, the steps involved in acquiring a firearm, they are quite a strict process, just to ensure that the individual that will own that firearm is in a position to be responsible, and in the case that they are going to use it, they do use it in a responsible way. So on my screen right now that I'd like to share with the audience is with regards to the steps involved, when acquiring a firearm, because I believe that this is important with regards to understanding that if you are a person that is, quick to act, and maybe from an emotional standpoint, you are not fit maybe to own a firearm, then at least you will know, because there's also what we call is the firearms control act. So I'll then proceed to share my screen so that we can just quickly go through this one in terms of the competency or the certificate that you would need to own to have a firearm. So on my screen here, basically it says that to legally obtain a firearm in SA, you must follow these steps, right? So first things first, you need to be a citizen or a permanent resident of SA, or basically if you are someone that is from a foreign country, you would need to have the correct papers, number one. And then in terms of age, and I think this one is very important, you'd have to be 21 years and above, because when it comes to gun safety, we need adults, guys. We need adults. And then you have to pass a background check to ensure that you are fit and proper to be in possession of a firearm. And then you also have to complete the required tests on understanding the Firearms Control Act, as well as training and a couple of tests for safe and effective use of the firearm. So in terms of competency, these are the things that needs to be in place. Now, in terms of proficiency, you need to demonstrate that you are stable, right, mentally, because we don't want to find ourselves, someone just trigger happy and they start shooting. And then you also have to have no substance abuse problem, because if you are easily influenced, then it means that the firearm can also influence you to do other things, right? So you shouldn't also have a history of being served a protection order. I mean, we can imagine if someone has that kind of a history and they legally have a firearm, that's not a pretty sight, okay? And you mustn't also be accused of domestic violence. So you have to be clean. You have to be clean. And then no previous denial of a firearm permit or authorization. So if you've been previously denied, then you're not eligible to own a firearm. So these are some of the steps involved in making sure that one is in a right position to own a firearm. But I do think, Jabu, that when it comes to the use of firearms for women, I believe that they should own firearms. I mean, if they can go through these steps and make sure that mentally they are fit and they are in a position where they are competent, then 100%, because at the end of the day, it's us as men that basically took away that confidence in them. So they need to also protect themselves. How many women have been killed last year alone, right? And also when it comes to road rage, we know that women don't have firearms. That's why we act the way we act, right? But I think they should own firearms. But I think also we need to address a much bigger problem. Yeah.
You know, Mr. Jabu, before I come to you, you mentioned something on, what you need, the processes that you need to go through when owning a firearm. And on one of them, I noticed that you mentioned checking mental conditions, right? So here with me, I have an highlighted text in which I hope everyone can see it, so that we can all debunk it, because it reads as follows. They say criminals are trigger happy.
That's true.
They don't hesitate to rob, shoot, and kill. The laws need to be strengthened. The law must come down very hard on those in possession of illegal weapons. We need effective gun control. These are the words from an ATM party, leader, Mr. Zungu. So these are the words that he spoke, in terms of strengthening the law. But now my question, it comes that we have seen many scenarios whereby someone, a criminal is coming into your own property, and then you own a gun. So the question is, when you see someone who's not supposed to be there, what do you do in that moment?
There's been countless debates, but I don't know if Mr. Jabu, you've heard about this law that if you were to shoot someone with the intent to kill, right, even if it's private property and they are trespassing, you could also be in trouble for that.
Yes, Mr. Banele, I think you put it well. There are a lot of rules when it comes to a gun. Some of the rules is like they check if the other person was in a position of danger to you before you shoot. And if someone comes to your house and break in and wanna do something that you don't know, or you don't even see what weapon are they carrying, you have to protect yourself. So but a law in other ways can come back to you and look, maybe that person is holding a knife and you have a gun. So you need to give warnings first. There is a lot of things that you need to follow. So but if you attack and you don't even have a time for that, you respond accordingly. So it's a shame what's happening. Crime it's a problem in our country and in different areas. So but owning a gun, it's a good thing. So the rules of owning a gun, it's hectic a little bit, but I think if like you can follow and you're mental stable, you can understand how to use it and when to use it.
But at what stage do you determine if someone is there to cause bodily harm? I think as soon as they enter the property.
Yeah, like seeing somebody like going over your wall.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
like what else is there?
Yeah, because this person, you will never know what they're here to do. Because they say, if you see that person, you need to call the police. If he does not have a firearm, he or she does not have a firearm, do not engage and fire at that person. But now, what if the person comes and strangles you to death? So those are the things that we need to think of, when it comes to protecting ourselves from criminals out there. As I'm about to show you a picture right here in, a picture of people in Mamelodi East. They organized this, protest that they want to live in a gun-free society. You will see a lady there holding a poster that says "Ophela ka sithunya, oshwa ka sithunya." That means you live by the gun and you actually die by the gun. So that's what's happening out there. So other people outside, they think that this gun society is becoming a problem and people need to stop owning guns. People who come with these guns, they actually cause a problem for a lot of residents around communities in South Africa. And I don't know, but I've never seen such protests, being supported, being funded by the government or anyone who wants to live in a gun-free society.
Of which it makes sense, right? So if in your community they were to have a protest about a gun-free zone and you don't feel safe. I mean, you're a family man, you've got kids, you've got property, valuables, and of recent there has been a whole lot of robberies around the area, people getting hijacked and all of that stuff. I think you would maybe even object. Not that you're objecting for the sake of saying, look, guys, I fully understand and I agree that we should have a gun-free society, but as it stands right now, if I give up my weapon, that's okay. I can take it to the police station, take it back. It's cool. But then it's not like the criminals will give up their weapons as well, right? So we then end up in this vicious cycle where they acquire weapons, we acquire weapons. But what happens is that as soon as they learn that you've got a firearm, you're also targeted as well, right? So I've got something here with regards to the law about unlawful entry on a premises, right? So I'm just going to read this abstract quickly. So here it says that the Unlawful Entering on Premises Bill aims to replace outdated laws related to trespassing. It fully repeals the old Trespass Act and introduces new regulations. So under the new law, if someone unlawfully gains entry to an enclosed property without permission from the owner or lawful occupier, they commit an offense, right? But they're still not saying that can we use the weapon. So the property owners must give notice either through a clear signage or oral warning. So you would hear someone say, "Get off my property," sort of like a thing, right? That entry is prohibited. Owners and lawful occupiers can call the police to apprehend trespassers. Okay, I'll be dead by then. Trespassers can defend themselves if they reasonably believe they have title or interest in the premise. Okay, so let's come here to the warning shot. So firing a warning shot is risky from a legal standpoint. So until a clear point is crossed, what point is that? Until a clear point is crossed, firing a warning shot may be prosecuted as criminal recklessness. If the warning shot is fired towards the person coming onto the property or in an unsafe direction, it could be considered a felony, which I understand, because if you fire and that bullet ends up being a crossfire, it kind of makes sense. So the question is, who should take the first shot, basically? Is it me or should they?
I think, when it comes to the law, they're actually focusing on, I believe that they're focusing on wrong people, because when as a citizen you start owning a gun, those processes that you need to go through, check your mental conditions and everything. A criminal just, they are given a gun and they have to do a job that they have to do. For them it takes one shot, to end your life. For you have to go through a lot of processes. So the gun-free protest, I believe that immediately those guns are confiscated, like they must be, damaged. They don't have to exist anymore. Not put in a room of proof or something like that, because policemen are also working. There are talks that
The same
policemen,
guns go back to the
to the
streets.
criminals.
No, that's true. That's true. Jabu, your thoughts about
Uh,
the the
I think
the steps we have to take to fire a shot versus a criminal?
okay. Let me start here. I think we still have a lot of illegal guns out there, and if we can check, those guns are coming from the owners that were owning it legally. So I think when we need a free society of a gun free, and law uh, must be strengthened to look at the people that have illegal guns first before we attack the people that are having gun to protect themselves. So with that, who must shoot, who must be shot first, or anything, I will say that it depends with the situation. But the one that is having a legal gun, you know the precautions and the things that you need to follow, the steps and everything, even if it's not fair, because criminals, they don't think twice when they invade your areas. They're here to do the job, as Mo says. So it's a blink of a second that you need to think of many things. So I think we need to know our position and understand what to do. Um, for me, if you invade my yard, I'm not gonna ask any questions. More especially if you're not coming in the gate. I've got a gate. When I see you climb my wall, jump in, I shoot to kill. That's what I can do. But law will come and tell you a lot of stories. So it's not fair for people that are owning guns legally, the law and the rules. So I think if like you invade, you need to be shot. No questions.
Yeah, because also when someone jumps your wall or the gate, right? It's clear that they are here for something else,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, for you to wait and find out, I don't think that's fair, because the same way that criminals or even hijackers would open fire when when doing their criminal deeds, I too am scared. So if I end up firing a couple of rounds because I was scared, I mean, someone came here. They saw the warning first that this is private property. They broke the gate. They broke in the house, and then I still need to give a warning.
To them.
No, guys, no.
Yeah, man, warning. I'm about to shoot you, so please brace yourself. That's exactly what they're saying. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mzansi Affairs. Please do join us on our socials by commenting down below and telling us what do you think when it comes to women owning guns in South Africa and all over the world. Right now, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to conclude with our topic. So please, guys, you can leave us your comment or your voice note on our WhatsApp line, which is 061 524 7758. And our socials is YouTube, Share Online, Instagram, TikTok, and also Facebook. All right. Right now we are still facing a slight problem, but I think we are going to continue and conclude with this headline topic, which is women owning guns in South Africa. And as I told you guys, please leave us your comment and tell us what you think. Is it a good thing or is it a wrong thing? And if we say women don't own guns, what is a solution for them to protect themselves from the harsh crimes that are happening out there? So I think right now, gentlemen, it's time for us to talk about, the simple solutions that are there in terms of, okay, if we say we eliminate guns, what's one thing that we need to improve as a country, in terms of protecting ourselves? If we don't protect ourselves with guns, what is it that we can protect ourselves with when it comes to the criminals? Mr. JB.
Yes, no. I think there is no way that we can say that guns are not involved in this situation. We need guns because the criminals, they're coming with guns. So it, it's a better way to defend yourself. You can't defend someone that is coming with a gun, with a knife. So it does not make sense at all. So it means when criminals have guns, it means we need to have guns for protection as well. So when criminals have knives, we need to have pangas. So it's difficult situation. So if we need to get rid of guns in our society, we need to start with those ones that are illegally are roaming around our areas. And then so that we can limit people to have guns to protect themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I clearly hear you, in terms of making sure that people protect themselves from all of the crimes that are happening out there, in which it's something that I also want to highlight, that also the law can also come forward, and say we are going to come up with programs that are going to make sure that people in the communities are actually protected, without them, needing to purchase guns to protect themselves. So I do believe that we need to work together as a country, and together with the government and also those private entities that deal with the safety and security of the people in communities. So I think a hand has to be reached out even to the people who are supplying guns, because that's where our suppliers come from. In order for you to kind of kill everything, you need to start by eliminating the supplier that is causing all of the commotion that is happening out there. So I do believe that as much as we can come forward as South Africans and actually talk about this, how we can move forward, that each and every time when a criminal is being held accountable of any crime that they have done, their gun must be taken, and it must just vanish and never be seen again. I believe by that way we will win against this war of guns. So that is my take. So I don't know about you, Mr. B. When we close, what do you want to say about this?
Yeah, I believe that we can influence some things that we don't have control over, right? Like the government or the police system and so on. But for the things that we do have control over, which is my yard and, protecting myself, then I think that women should go for your gun control, obtain firearms at least, right? So that they know how to use it and they are in a position where they can make use of it. So that's my 2 cents. I feel like whatever you can control, go ahead and control it, and then let's try and influence what at the moment what seems to be a far-fetched dream. So yeah, but obviously it has to be done responsibly. So also let criminals know that people do have firearms, and they can also suffer consequences, because it's also a sad case where as a citizen of SA, maybe let's just say I was employed for God knows how long. I become a pensioner at the age of 60, and then or I'm unemployed, right? But I paid taxes. Criminals get arrested. A part of that tax is to make sure they somehow go on a rehabilitation program, and most of them come out worse than they went in. So it's still me, the person who is struggling with the trauma that I went through, but I'm still paying tax, and a portion of that money is going to rehabilitate them. So there's been talks in the past about, introducing much harsh penalties for or sentences for criminals, right? So that hasn't happened, and I think that's why when someone comes out of the jail system, they go back to crime, right? They go back to crime. So a lot needs to be looked at, in my opinion. But yeah, control what you can, and if you can obtain a firearm, then 100% do it. Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and being here with our audience and the people who are listening from home. Mr. JB, I would like to say thank you so much, and we hope to see you next week. Mr. JB.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you for the viewers and the listeners. I'll see you next week, and thank you for hosting me for today.
Yeah, man. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Sure.
This was Mzansi Affairs, ladies and gentlemen. Do make sure to catch us next week, Tuesday, same time. So please do not forget to go on our socials and do the right thing by subscribing and also commenting down below with the headlines that we had today. Do women need to own guns? Yes or no? Please comment down below, and you can also leave a comment or your voice note on our WhatsApp line, which is 061-524-7758. My name is Moeketsi, and till we meet next week, thank you so much.